Hi, everybody. My name is Terry, and I am the sales executive at Boschendal Wine Farm. Boschendal is one of the oldest wine farms in the country, founded in 1685, and also one of the largest wine farms. We are 2,000 hectares of land, and that is divided into farming, conservation areas, as well as our accommodation. Our farm is conveniently situated in the winelands and quite convenient as we are situated between Paarl, Stellenbosch, and Franschhoek. An important thing to remember when selling Boschendal is the distances of our accommodation from our main Werf side of the farm. So our Werf side of the farm is over here, and this is where you're going to find our two eateries, our deli restaurant and Aram restaurant. You'll also find our farm shop on the side, as well as our walk-in manor house wine tasting. The only accommodation on this side of the farm are our Werf cottages and our Clarence cottages. These are walking distance to this main heartbeat of our farm. The rest of the accommodation is over the road. So it's important to remember when selling these cottages. So just so that you manage those expectations, guests understand that they'll check in at reception, and then they will either need to use our complimentary shuttle service or obviously their own private vehicles to access the other side of the farm. This side of the farm is only for in-house guests, and they'll need to access it through a boom gate where obviously the guard is expecting them. Then our accommodation. So all of our cottages will have a complimentary bottle of wine waiting in the cottage, red in winter, white in summer, as well as a bowl of fresh fruit, whatever's in season on the farm at the time, and also something from our farm shop. It might be biscuits, rusks, crisps, whatever they decide to put in on the day. Then all of our cottages will have a complimentary walking garden tour offered to them. And then our premium cottages will receive a complimentary wine and chocolate pairing. If we move on to a slide that just shows how many guests we can sleep on property if we are at full occupancy. So most people are quite surprised when they see these numbers. 214 guests can sleep on Boschendal if we are full, in 107 rooms and 49 cottages. We'll start off with our mountain villa. We have two premium villas on property, our mountain villa and 1685. Mountain villa is the largest, being a 12-sleeper, 6 bedrooms. So when I say premium villa, it means that there is a private chef who will come and cook breakfast for guests in the morning. There's also a host that lives on site that will facilitate guests' comings and goings, restaurant reservations, shuttle bookings, etc., etc. This mountain villa has got a private pool, private gym, and private lake as well. This is what it looks like inside. Give you a moment to take that all in. And then moving on to our cottage 1685. So this is a South African National Heritage Site. So that means, besides the fact that it's really old, it also means that we can't change the bones of the structure. So it makes for quite a historic, quite a unique cottage in that the 5 bedrooms are all sort of dotted around the property. In the main house, we have 2 bedrooms that share a bathroom. Obviously, then the main entertainment area, lovely big living area, dining room, kitchen. Then you walk out to access the 3rd bedroom. The bathroom that services that bedroom is just a few steps over a small courtyard, so quite unique. And then there's a further 2 bedrooms in the annex, and both these 2 bedrooms have got ensuite bathrooms. Again, just to reiterate, this is a premium cottage. Therefore, there is a chef who will cook breakfast, a host that lives on site. There's also a private pool at cottage 1685. This is what 1685 looks like inside. The views here are also really, really spectacular. Then moving on to our cowshed cottage. This is our most spacious 2-bed, 2-bath cottage. Quite a distance from the main area, but the advantage of that is that then you have unbelievable views. So 360-degree mountain views all around. This cottage is also getting a swimming pool, so that's probably going to be done within the next couple of months. So a really lovely option for couples who are traveling together. The bedrooms are quite far apart. There's a bedroom on either side of the property, and then in the middle is the entertainment area, kitchen, dining room, and living room. Moving on to our Clarence cottages. Over here we have 4 Clarence cottages. The Clarence 1 and 2 are both 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom ensuite cottages. Our Clarence 3 is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom cottage. And then our Clarence 4 is our latest addition, our newest addition. And this Clarence 4 is a 1-bed, 1-bath cottage. Unfortunately, I don't have images as yet of this Clarence 4, but as soon as I do, I will send them on to you. Over here, this is Clarence 1, Clarence 2, and Clarence 3. Moving on to our Werf Garden suites, we have 7 of these. These have just recently been refurbished, so they are looking absolutely stunning. We have 4 garden suites where the bedroom is separate from the kitchen and living room area. And then we have 3 garden studios, where, as the name depicts, the bedroom is not separate. The garden suites have a lovely private garden area out the back, whereas the studios do not have this, but the studios do have direct access onto the pool that services the Werf suites as well as the Clarences. So this is what they look like now. Really gorgeous. We've had some really positive feedback about this new refurb of the Werf cottages. Our orchard cottages, moving on. Over here we can sleep 54 guests. We have 4 1-bedroom cottages, 4 2-bedroom premium, 4 2-bedroom standard. The difference between standard and premium is the view. 1 3-bedroom unit and 1 4-bedroom unit. The orchards will have their breakfast on the Werf side of the farm. So all guests that do not have their breakfast either in cottage or at the retreat will have their breakfast at Aram, which is our fine dining restaurant on the Werf side of the farm. So this is an image of the orchard cottages, all of which have very similar deco, and then obviously just increases in size depending on how many rooms there are. All of the orchards have their own inbuilt braai area. Moving on to our retreat cottages. So over here, the unique quality about the retreat is that it has its own reception area. So guests do not have to go to the Werf reception area to check in. They can check in directly at the retreat cottages. The retreat also has its own restaurant where guests will enjoy their breakfast. At retreat, we have 18 2-bed, 2-bath cottages. These are all identical. And then 1 and 2 are built next to each other, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and so on. So in the event that you did have a bigger group, say a family who wanted a 4-bed, 4-bath, the interleading door could be opened, making it a bigger space for guests to enjoy. This would just need to be communicated at time of reservation. Another thing to remember about retreat is that it is a natural pool, as you can see in the image to the left. So again, managing those expectations, so that guests are expecting a natural pool and don't expect the crystal clear blue pool with chemicals inside. It's cleaned every day. It has a fresh water pump and it's actually quite lovely to swim in. Okay, moving on to our farmhouses. So I've left this slide as self-catering. However, these farmhouses are not sold as self-catering to trade. They are inclusive of breakfast, housekeeping, and shuttle service. So of the farmhouses, we have 4 standalone farmhouses. The first one, the first image that you see is our Champagne farmhouse. This is a 4-bed, 3-bath farmhouse. All of our farmhouses have got the wood-burning hot tubs. Then moving on to Loft farmhouse, again, a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom farmhouse. Then we move on to Fynbos. This is also a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom farmhouse. And then our largest farmhouse is our Vineyard farmhouse, which is actually all-time favorite. This is the only farmhouse that has its own private pool as well as the hot tub, and it also is quite high up on the farm, so it has these magnificent views all around. Okay, then we move on to our beehive. So this is our latest addition to our Boschendal family. The beehive is a venue, it's a location where guests can have a curated wellness experience. So may it be yoga, breathing workshops, meditation workshops. This would just need to be communicated to me, via our res or directly with me, and we can curate these beautiful experiences for your guests who are looking for something a little bit different or an experience, centered around wellness. Okay, our eateries. Our first eatery I'll talk about is our deli restaurant. So this has also just recently been redone and the inside's looking really great. The deli is your family style restaurant. Every day we have specials out on our board. Again, all of our eateries, farm to table eating. So we try and use as much as possible fruit and veg from our gardens, and you can really tell, that's just been freshly picked and used, in your dishes. The deli restaurant has a lovely outside area, so it's especially fun in the summer months. Okay, our VARF picnics. Picnics are very popular. They run every day in the summer months, Monday through Sunday, and then in the winter months we'll run picnics from Thursday through Sunday. Our picnic boxes are priced at $8.50 for a double box, $4.30 for a single, and then kids under 12 will have a box priced at $250. It's a lovely experience. Guests can choose between table and chair seating or blankets and low back rest chairs. There's table service for drinks. Our retreat restaurant. So as I mentioned, the retreat accommodation does have its own restaurant. This is used for all retreat guests for breakfast, and then it's open for lunch and dinner for all in-house guests. So nice sort of light restaurant option, if it be sort of a light meal around the pool or just sitting outside eating al fresco on the deck, an all-round great experience at retreat restaurant. Then I move on to our latest addition, our Aram restaurant. So this restaurant is brought to us by the Fane Group. If any of you are familiar with Fane Restaurant in Cape Town, this is the same chef, Peter Tempelhoff. So this is a fine dining restaurant. It is a la carte, so guests can, just come in for a main course, or, sit there for a few hours, starters, mains, dessert. There's a lovely bar area, which has unbelievable cocktails. And quite unique to the winelands, it is open until very late. So by very late, I mean 2 a.m. This is really out of the ordinary for the winelands. As I mentioned before, all guests who won't have their breakfast at the retreat or in cottage will have their breakfast at Aram Restaurant. Then I move on to our farm shop. So our farm shop is, it is quite frankly unbelievable. So obviously we sell whatever we can from our own farms. So fresh produce you won't find. All the meats are from our farm as well. Our beef, our pork, our lamb. The farm shop is also an online shop, so guests who are arriving a little bit late in the day, or just quite frankly don't feel like going out again, they can put in an order at farm shop the day before they arrive, and this will be delivered and unpacked, ready and waiting for them in their cottage. We try and use as much as possible produce from our own farm. However, if we have to outsource, it will always be from local farmers who have like-minded practices. So that means no antibiotics, no pesticides. Then we move on to our experiences on the farm. We have 2 separate wine tasting venues. Our cellar door, which is located on the Roan Homestead side of the farm. So this is, the cellar door does necessitate a booking, because that is typically where we'll send our groups, like our wine tram, singles and couples are more than welcome, but it does need to be booked in advance just to avoid disappointment. Then we have our Manor House, which is our walk-in wine tasting, which is at the Verve precinct. The menus are the same on both sides, so the pairings are the same. The wine tastings are the same at both locations. Then our treehouse. Boschendal is a very family-friendly farm. Our treehouse is our kids club, and that also does need to be booked in advance. They do take walk-ins, obviously subject to availability. And this isn't just a babysitting experience. This is a fully interactive experience that kids will enjoy. They go out onto the farm, they ride the horses, they get to go on our safari viewer, they'll pick fruit, they'll feed the lambs, they'll feed the calves, they'll forage, they'll learn how to make their own food. Really a fun, full day for the kiddies. Our outdoors activities. So we have a trail center on property where guests can rent bikes, e-bikes included. If there is a request for e-bikes, it will need to be done a little bit in advance so that they can bring out the e-bikes, obviously, on property. Then we have our horse riding, which is a wonderful experience. Horse riding is for beginners, intermediate, and advanced riders. All riders will always go out with a groom. Then, of course, all of our lovely hiking trails. Guests can decide to go out on their own. There's maps. It's very clearly indicated, where the paths are. If they choose to go out with a guide, that's also possible. Just needs to be booked in advance. Then I move on to our night market, our seasonal experiences. So night market is every Friday night in season, obviously weather dependent because it is outdoors. This takes place at the Verve precinct, an unbelievable experience. There's a lot of food vendors and lovely, lovely different types of foods, not only our Boschendal menus, some fun sort of Asian dishes, all sorts of, there's a lovely Argentinian meat food vendor. There's live music, so it is a very magical experience. In-house guests, all they have to do is show their key to access. Day visitors will need to book on Quicket. It's purely so that we can manage our numbers. Guests will be requested to show a barcode when entering if they are day visitors. Then our Citrus Festival, which is generally the fruit decides, but generally around end of July. And we have a lovely harvest table set up. Guests can come and pick their own tangos. That's our brand of nachos, and just a lovely day out for the whole family. And last but not least, I'd like to talk about our Green Key certification. So Boschendal is the first wine estate in the world to be awarded this Green Key certification. Really something that we are extremely proud of. And what does it mean? It means that Boschendal is doing everything in their power to recycle as much as possible, to compost as much as possible. We also have 3 solar power plants on property, so you'll never be in the dark at Boschendal. For those, the retreat is completely solar powered, and we hope to be off the grid by 2027. Our farming practices, we use a regenerative farming practice. So what this means is that we relocate our livestock. We don't let them graze any particular pasture until there's nothing left. We move them along, and then we put nutrients and other good things back into the soil, so that then, when the time comes for the animals to come back or for us to plant in those pastures, the soil is of an extremely high quality. So there you have it. That's Boschendal in a nutshell. I hope that I've been able to shed a little bit more light on our property, and I welcome you to our property for a site inspection when the opportunity arises. And I thank you for your time. I've just put a slide up there. If you'd like to get in touch with anybody from the sales department, all reservations will go through our res. But of course, Chanel Buerta, who's our cluster head of sales, and of course myself, Terry Stone, who is the cluster sales executive. Just like to take a minute just to reiterate that Boschendal is actually owned by the same owners as the Dorp Hotel. My esteemed colleague John will present to you the Dorp Hotel. But just so you know, the reason why I've put this slide up there with both Boschendal and Dorp is that it is one and the same owners, and all inquiries for site inspections, STO rates, etc., should come to both Chanel and I. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you soon.